Hey artists, today we're going to draw and paint this dragon. Make sure you have a pencil, an eraser, a Sharpie, watercolor paper, watercolor paints, a glass of water, paintbrushes, and a paper towel. It's important to have the correct supplies for this style of painting, especially the watercolor paper and the Sharpie. Let's go ahead and get started. Alright, first thing I'm going to do is grab my pencil and we're going to start with the dragon's head. So we're going to make an oval shape, kind of right in the middle of the paper. Something like that. We're going to make a smaller oval, the bottom of that oval, and then 2 circles coming off of that oval for the nostrils. We can take our eraser and kind of erase those pencil marks that are left in between. That'll give you the shape of the nose there. Okay, from there we're going to add a little more to the head, so 2 lines up, kind of curved lines like that, and then again you can erase this top portion of this oval. So then we should have something that looks kind of like that. All right, we'll go ahead and draw in the horns here, so kind of triangle shapes that are rounded around the edges, one on both sides, that, and then we'll start drawing in the hat. So we're going to start with the middle part of, or the big part of the hat. So like this, 2 lines on either side right by the horns, and really long skinny oval on the top. That's the top of the hat there. We'll add a rectangle here with a rectangle inside of there like that. And then we'll connect for the ribbon or a little design on the hat there. Okay, so we have the top part of the hat now, and then we're just going to draw an oval shape for the rim of the hat. And we want to go around the horns, so we're just skipping over those. It's kind of behind the horns there. All right, we're going to draw 2 big eyes on this dragon, and then inside of the eyes I added 2 little highlights like this, and then 2 little nostrils. So I just did kind of a little curved line, and then we'll draw these side pieces of the dragon, so line out, kind of looks like a spider. We're going to draw kind of like spider legs on the sides. You can see this one's a little smaller. It kind of gets smaller as it goes down because the face gets wider. And then we're just going to connect those with a curved line. 2 curved lines. 1 line and then 2 lines. Okay. Then we're going to start moving into the body of the dragon. So we'll go, I'm going to make this nose just a tiny bit shorter like that. And then we'll start on the neck, so just 2 lines down, and then curve it on both sides like this. We're going to start drawing in the legs. So I curve this way for this leg, that way for that side, and then the same over here for the second leg. You can see they're not straight down, they're a little bit curved, like they get bigger as they go down. Okay, so we should have this now. Then we're going to draw in a foot over here. Just a line up and zigzags, 1, 2, 3 zigzags, and then curve it around. You can erase, if you have some extra, you can erase your line there. And then before we draw on this foot, we're going to start on the tail. So we're going to start about here on the back, curve around, and then down, over, we get to this point, and then we're just going to go back, and we're going to get wider as we go. Okay, and again, erase anything that you may have went over. So the legs and the feet should be behind the tail there, so you can kind of see that this foot is behind this tail. And we're going to draw in the other foot now. So again, a curved line and then zigzags, 1, 2, 3, and then around and connect it back to the tail. Fix my back here, erase that line. Might even make my tail a little tiny bit smaller. The nice thing about using a pencil before you use your marker is that you can fix anything if you don't like it. Okay, we're going to add in the wings now. So we're going to draw a curved line up to a point and then down and then back up and across, back to the neck. And we'll do the same thing on the other side. Line up, over, and then connect to a point. Okay. And then for the rest of the wing, we're going to curve down on both sides, just like that. And then we're going to add another curved line, both sides. And then this one, we're going to pull up and get pretty close to this other point. So the wing gets a little bit more narrow at the top here. Okay. And then we're going to connect the wings. So from this point, we want to go to this point, and then we're back to this point and go to this point. And the same for the other side. All right, I think I'm all done sketching my dragon, so I'm going to go ahead and grab my Sharpie, and I'm going to go ahead and go over all of those pencil marks that I just made, and then after that we'll move on to the next step. All right, I think I'm all done with my Sharpie, so I'm going to go ahead and take my eraser, and we can erase any pencil marks that we can still see. Okay, now that I'm done with that, I'm going to go ahead and take my paper towel, and we're going to start painting. We're going to grab a paintbrush, and we're going to go ahead and start with the hat. So I'm going to take my wet paintbrush, and I'm going to fill in this top portion of this hat. So it's just kind of damp. And then we're going to grab some green. We're going to go on the sides of the hat and this whole top part. We're going to slowly make our way across so that gets kind of lighter in the middle. And then we can add to that with some more, do the same kind of movement across until we get it to the right color that we want. I kind of tried to keep this portion right here a little bit lighter. And then also we want the top part of the hat much darker. So we want to fill that in pretty good. These are my favorite watercolor paints to use. But you can use whatever kind you want. These are linked in the description if you're interested in them, as well as some of the other products that I use. And I'm just going to finish filling this in until it's kind of blended together. You can see it's darker and gets lighter, and then it gets darker again. So once you're happy with that, we can go ahead to the bottom part of the hat. I'm going to do the same thing, fill it in with water. Be careful not to get any of the other parts that we don't want green. We just want what we want green wet. So we're going to get some paint, and again, it's going to be a little darker, especially up against the top edge and then behind the horns. I'm going to fill it in like that, and then I'm just going to take a little bit of water and kind of blend it out. Just like this. All right, now that we're done with the hat, we're going to move on to the dragon. Well, we're done with the green of the hat. We're going to let that dry a little bit before we start adding in some other things. So we're going to start on some of the dragon. We're actually going to start on the body. And we're gonna fill this in. I'm gonna go down into the feet, the whole body and the feet. And we're gonna grab another shade of green. I used a lighter green for this. So I'm gonna start filling that in. You can see that it's a little darker back behind the feet. So again, we kind of wanna blend it into the middle. We're actually gonna add some of that same green that we used for the hat into this. If you only have one color of green, you can just kind of layer it, or you can even mix some color, like this might have some yellow color in it, and that'll give you another shade. But I'm going to fill this in so there's green everywhere, but a little darker down under here, like behind things. And then we're actually going to take that other green that we just used for the hat, and we're going to go back over where we want it darker. Kind of brings that other green down into the dragon and makes everything blend, and it also makes it darker for the shadows. You can see I'm adding some of this darker color now. And I'm just going to blend that with some water. All the spots that are darker are kind of marked off right now. Maybe up under these toes too. All right, now that that is done, I'm gonna take a little break from that green and I'm gonna go up here and I'm gonna fill in the yellow of this hat. Hopefully the green is a little more dry now and it won't bleed into the other sections. So I just filled that in, and now we're gonna go back to the green while that yellow dries, and then we'll add the black. All right, so I'm gonna work on the tail now. I'm gonna fill in the whole tail with some water. And then again with that light green, I'm gonna use some of that light green. We're gonna make it darker around on the bottom here. And in through here, we want it darker. So then I'm just gonna blend that up into the rest. Then I'm going to grab, again, some of that darker green that we used for the hat and go across the bottom and then in here. You can just blend that out with some water again until you're happy with it. All right, let's go ahead and work on this dragon's face now. So again, as always, I'm going to make it wet. Be careful to avoid the eyes, especially the highlights of the eyes, so we don't want green highlights. You can also fill in the nose. Okay, take my light green again and go around the outside of the face, under the hat and the horns, and back behind this nose. And then again, blend it out with some water. Again, careful about the highlights. All right, you can fill in this nose. We're going to have it a little darker along the bottom edge. I'm not going to add any of the darker color for on the nose. I'm just going to keep that lighter. It's meant to look lighter. The nose is meant to look lighter than the rest of the dragon. So I'm going to add this hat color back in just for the edges and under the hat. And blend that in again with some water. Oh, there's some pink on there. I don't know where that came from. I think I'm happy with the face. So I'm going to take my brush now and I'm going to go fill the ribbon of the hat in. Hopefully this yellow is dry enough. Just going to take some black, fill that in, or gray, or really whatever color you want. Purple would probably look pretty cool. I'm not doing anything too particular with the black. I'm just filling it in. You can go as dark or light as you want. You can see mine over here that I'm doing is a little lighter than my first one. That's fine. Okay. All right, I'm going to go back to my green again. This time we are going to do the sides of this face. So I'm going to fill the whole thing in, both of them actually. I'm going to take the light green, and I'm going to go over everything, but careful to not make the middle sections too dark. And you know what? Let's go ahead and do the wings too while we're at it. So you can fill that in with water. And then that green paint. All right, and then I'm going to go back in with this darker green and just go over the lines here and this top part of the wings. Just like this. And just kind of blend that in. Okay, like that. All right, now the last step that I have is we're gonna take some yellow and kind of add some little highlights kind of wherever the sun would be hitting. So I put some yellow up here on the hat, and then these are, so the horns are meant to be white, but we're gonna add a little bit of yellow on them just so they don't look so flat, and that gives them a little color. And then some yellow just along the parts where it might be sunnier if this dragon was sitting in the sun. So I'm going to go ahead and just add some yellow to different parts of this dragon that I think need a little color, need some sun, and then we'll blend it in with some water. So I'm going to start up here. I did a little on the face, did some on the hat, and I'm going to blend this in pretty good. Even the top of the hat could use some yellow. Okay, and then go down into the body and add some. It doesn't have to be too fancy, just kind of wherever you think sun might be hitting. Sun obviously wouldn't be hitting down in the shadows too much, so we try to avoid those spots. Like behind the legs here, you wouldn't see any sun. So that's where we don't want to put sun. Now I'm just blending that out until it kind of all flows together with some water. Can even add some yellow to the wings. All right. I think I'm all finished with my dragon. If you enjoy doing this art project with me, give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to see when I release new videos. I would love to make art with you again soon. Most importantly, keep creating. I'll see you next time. Bye.